Hello, people. Did you miss me? I missed you. I missed you guys lots. I apologize for being so distant. I've been busy. I'm sure you've been busy. Everybody's been busy. It's the summertime. With the summertime brings everybody together to do awesome and amazing things because, at least if you're in my area, winter definitely sucks a lot. Anyway, we have our contest winner, Elena Siebert. Thank you for sharing with your form submission. You won the gift card, so I'll be in touch with you shortly about that to figure out the details on that awesome Amazon gift card. And thank you for the hashtag notification. The next big thing is going to be hashtag equal pay for Topher. Totally on board. Feel free to get in touch with me and we can figure out how I can contribute to that because I would love to contribute to equal pay to Topher. So yeah, with that being said, I have an amazing guest for you guys. She's been involved in music her entire life and now she is creating music. She's creating beautiful music. And we're going to sit down and talk with her about her new song, It's a Wonderful Life. Coming up right now is Hannah Raye.
You know what I heard?
Spill it. I gotta know.
I think it could be true.
Can you believe what they just said?
That can't be true.
Tell me more.
Have you heard?
They said what? Do you believe everything you hear? This is RumorCast.
So Hannah Raye, how are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing very good. I'm excited. I'm super excited to sit down and talk with you about this amazing thing that you've done.
Thank you.
It's amazing to me because it's like, oh my God, I kind of know her through family, you know.
Right. right.
But yeah, no, the track you produced is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. I was shocked when I heard it's still on my playlist. I listen to it all the time. It's awesome. So I'm hoping that you have some good stories to tell about that.
I'm sure I got a couple for you.
Awesome. I love it. Well, why don't we just rewind the clock and start at the beginning here? How did you at what point were you like, okay, I really, really, really want to make music?
Totally. So that goes actually pretty far back. Music has always just been my way of just de-stressing. And, you know, when your mind is just going, music was always that one thing to just kind of level my head out. So when I was super young, my dad had a guitar. My mom liked to play piano. And I was like, you know, I want to do something like this too. And I remember my dad actually getting me a ukulele. At the time, I thought it was a mini guitar. And so that was just like something that I could, you know, I was like, all right, like I can play this, like I'm playing guitar. It was still ukulele. But I mean, as I like got older, it actually, I kind of stopped music for a little bit and, you know, still tried to play piano a little bit here and there, but kind of dropped off for a little bit. And then when I was back, let's see, it must have been when I was in high school, I think, I was like, you know what, I'm going to pick up guitar again. I want to figure out how to actually play this thing, you know, not the ukulele version, in my mind, the mini guitar version, but I was like, I want to learn how to play this. So I remember I would go after school to my dad's house every single day after school for a couple hours, and I would just watch YouTube video after YouTube video after YouTube video till I got the chords down and until, you know, I was like, all right, I can play with the song. I can, you know, put a song on my radio, on my iPod, whatever it was, and I can learn the chords and play with it. And I was like, you know, it was just so cool. I felt like I was in a band, like just from, you know, putting the music on a stereo and just playing with it. I was like, I'm part of the band.
I 100% believe you weren't the only one.
It was such a cool feeling. And I was like, Dad, I was like, you got to sit and you got to look, like, you got to hear this. I was like, and, you know, I was just playing with it. And just like I guess just that feeling of thinking like, you know, this is just such a cool feeling. I was like, I want to, you know, try this. So really stuck with guitar for a while. and I had mentioned that my mom liked to play piano, so I remember getting a keyboard, having in my room,
Like the Casio one?
playing that keyboard all the time. Just like, and I would just, I just want to learn as many songs as I possibly could. I never knew how to read music, so it was a lot of just kind of listening to it and figuring it out on my own. But that was, half of the fun was just trying to figure out, what sounds good, what's right. And so that's kind of how music started. But yeah, ever since I bought my first guitar, ever since I bought that first keyboard, I haven't stopped.
And speaking of amazing music, let's let the audience take a look at your amazing track, It's a Wonderful Life.
Clouds are passing by, we're waiting for a light. Hands all in the sky. Sunset brings the night. Walking by the ocean, watching crashing waves. Feel the heat sand in our feet, it's where we stay. Take a deep breath and I take it all the way. Hey, hey. Free your mind, open up from all the chains that wrap us up. Forget about time, lose yourself, and think about us and nothing else. Oh, picture us. Follow me into the night. Hey, it's a wonderful life. Hey, hey. So take all your time. Your life you only twice. Give me your best advice. Walking by the ocean, watching crashing waves. Feel the heat sand in our feet, it's where we stay. Take a deep breath and I take it all the way. Hey, hey. Walking by the ocean, watching crashing waves. Feel the heat sand in our feet, it's where we stay. Take a deep breath and I take it all the way. Hey, hey. It's a wonderful life. It's a wonderful life. Walking by the ocean, watching crashing waves. Feel the heat sand in our feet, it's where we stay. Oh, it's where we stay. Take a deep breath and take it all away. Hey, walking by the ocean, watching crashing waves. Feel the heat sand in our feet, it's where we stay. Take a deep breath and I take it all the way. Hey, hey.
That is amazing. That is awesome. So the funny part is you had mentioned the ukulele as a kid. In literally the episode before this, I had a guitar teacher sit down with me and talk. And he was mentioning how great the ukulele is for kids because it's like the perfect size to get them to, practice guitar. So it's Chris, if you're listening right now, the system works, bro. You're 100% right.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree with that. And it's kind of, I mean, it's only 4 strings as to a guitar is more than 4, it's 6. So it's kind of, it's that beginner, but at the same time, I mean, hey, if you really like ukulele, you can totally take that to the next level. It can be your instrument, but it's a great like introduction to the guitar too.
For sure. Do you still play?
I know a couple songs. I wouldn't say it's one of the instruments that I like love to play and that I take a lot of time to, but I mean, I can play just a couple of your like classic ukulele songs like Over the Rainbow, or I think there's like a Jason Mraz song, but yeah, just a couple ones that ukulele is like known for. But that's about as far as I got with it.
No, that's fine. So how did it just start that young where, between the ukulele and the guitar and the piano, did you like, is it always been there? Like, I want to make music. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to create music. Or was there something that triggered it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's definitely always been there. I mean, I definitely didn't think it was always a possibility. So, everybody grows up saying, I want to be a rock star. I want to be on stage and, something to that nature. I know my dad was definitely one of those people too. And I think he still thinks that he might, be able to be that rock star too. I still catch him on occasion jamming out on the electric guitar downstairs.
That's awesome.
But I mean, definitely it's always been there. But yeah, like I said, I didn't think it would be a possibility to actually have the opportunity to, get it produced and actually write my own stuff. So
tell me about that.
But yeah, definitely it's always been there.
Where did the connection come into play where you're like, holy crap, this is going to be a reality? Like, tell me about that stage. Like, who stepped into the picture that was like, hey, let's make this happen?
Yeah, so I actually, I'm trying to think of how to tell this story. So I graduated college and stepped into my first job. And it was actually at that first job that I met somebody, and through the grapevine heard that he did music, that he's done shows, just kind of an all-around music guy. And I was like, wow, I'd love to listen to his stuff and just kind of see what he's about. And so listened to his stuff, and it was incredible. And I found out that he produced it, that he played it, that he wrote it, and everything. So I actually went over to him and I was like, hey, female harmonies is just one of my like favorite things to do. And so I just said, if you ever need, female harmony on your song, I would love to come into your studio and see if it's maybe what you're looking for, or just see if we could collaborate. And thinking back on it now, I mean, there are so many people. Once you tell people that you do music, I think there are a lot of people that say, I can do this. If you ever want me to come in, if you ever want me to do this, and people love to be a part of something like that, which is awesome. But there's, a certain, it's your music, so you don't want to have too many people coming in and trying to put their spin on it. So I was super excited when he said, let's have you come into the studio, let's see what you have and see if it's something that, I'd like to put on my stuff. And so I went into the studio, and the rest is history. I put some harmonies on his stuff, and he was like, honestly, Hannah, like you could do your own music if you wanted to too. And I was like, yeah, you think? And he's like, yeah, come in with your own stuff, and the rest is history.
Nice. So the lyrics though, those weren't yours?
Those lyrics are mine. Yep.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
for his stuff, I was just putting harmonies on some of his music. So he's actually doing his own music thing too. So he's looking to maybe do some shows. He's working on his own album, but I just wanted to put harmonies on some of his music too.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. But is he the guitarist in this music as well?
He's actually not. So that is the third person that helped me out with my song. So I actually met this third person through the guy that I used to work with. So the guy that actually did the guitar was also a guy that helped with the producing of my song. So it was kind of me and then two other guys that helped really wrap up the song all together.
Nice. Were these guys friends? Do they have their own band or?
So one of them is actually out in Nashville. He tours. His life is really revolved completely around music, and he is probably one of the most talented people I've come across, you know, just musically, just in general, with regards to producing, playing, singing, writing, all of that stuff. And he's in Nashville too, so he's at the music capital, you know, of the country. And
oh yeah.
And my work friend that I've been speaking of, so they actually went to high school together.
Okay.
So I met, so it was kind of, you know, I met this person who introduced me to this person, and then we were able to all collaborate and get It's a Wonderful Life out.
Nice. So where did you go to record? Was that in Nashville?
No, so that was actually the person that I worked with, and his name is Josh, just to make the story easier too. So he actually put together his own studio. So he put all of his heart, his money, and his soul into this studio that he built himself.
Nice.
It's incredible, honestly.
Is it?
It's just a really cool environment.
Oh yeah, I mean, I picture the huge mixer panels with the glass and the enclosed sound room and everything. Was that what it was like a full-on professional studio?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely got, so I mean it's the soundproof. He's got all of the instruments that you would need. He's got the software that's needed, but yeah, I mean everything that you need to record an album is in that studio that he built, which I would love to do that at some point, but I'm not the producer that I wish I was. Producing is a whole nother art of music that I have not had really the opportunity to dive deep in, so I leave that to the other people.
So when you mean producing, what do you mean? What are you referencing to? Are you talking about creating music, or are you talking about, I'm sorry if I'm not up to the lingo.
Yeah, no, sure. So I would say, I love to write music and I like to play it, but when it comes to actually recording it, putting in just like the little sound effects and making the actual sound of the song sound professional, also making sure that the setup of everything is right, that the sound of the guitar is right, that the drums aren't too loud, just any part of the song that's not just writing it or singing it or playing it is basically the producing of it. So that's where you're on a computer and you're kind of messing with different volumes and different effects and things like that. So if you wanted your voice to sound like it's in a huge stadium, you can do that in a song. Or if you want it to sound very muffled, you can do that as well. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do from a producing standpoint that I had no idea about until, this past year when I actually went through the process myself.
Nice. And but you didn't do that.
I definitely didn't do that. No.
Is that a fourth party now? Is that different than the mixing in the studio?
Say that again?
Is there a fourth party now that we're talking about that did the producing for the track?
So that was Josh and the guy from Nashville. So those are the two that did the producing of the song.
Perfect. Do you so you met them through a friend of a friend?
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I had met them. Yeah. So Josh, I had worked with, and then he introduced me to the guy in Nashville as well. So it was still just me and then the two other guys that made the song possible.
So when did you write the song? Like, are these? Tell me about the words of the song. How did you come up with that?
Sure. So I wrote the song. Gosh, that had to have been, I think, just at the beginning of this year. But the song was really written, I guess in the time of 2019 just being a tough time for us to live in. just feel like we have so much going on in the world right now, you know, whether it's religion, politics, race, sexuality, whatever it is, and people are just kind of down in the dumps right now. And I just wanted a song that I could put out there and just kind of remind people, like, hey, it is a wonderful life and it is what you make it. So, you know, don't forget that. And so when I wrote the song, you know, I was writing about things that make me happy, and, you know, whether it's, you know, being by the ocean, like I talk about, you know, walking by the ocean and in the sand, and I, you know, I love the ocean.
Where was
so
the ocean?
That's kind of where I think that's where that came from. But yeah, when I write songs, it honestly is like, it's just like words just pour out of my mouth, and I'm like, I don't know where that came from. It makes sense, and I'm feeling it, and then I go with it. So
exactly, that's awesome.
But yeah. So I mean, it's a wonderful life, though. Like I said, that was really just to remind people in a tough time that, you know, life is still good.
That's awesome. I love it. Tell me about the beach. What beach were you at?
Yeah, so I got to go to Australia. I studied there for a few months when I was back in college, and it was the best time of my life.
Tell me all about it.
You know, yeah, I mean, anybody who is in college, you have to study. You have to study abroad. Like I would say that looking back on college, that was the most amazing experience that I'd ever had. I learned so much about myself. I learned, you know, a lot about a completely different culture, which was awesome. And I got to learn a lot of, you know, just different things like surfing, or I got to go scuba diving. And that's just like something that, you know, probably wouldn't happen that much in Minnesota. So,
right.
So it was really cool to go to a different place and just completely indulge in their culture and what they do for fun and all that stuff. So
what do they do for
living
fun?
by the ocean? What do they do for fun?
What do they do for fun?
Yeah. Well, surfing was the biggest thing for sure. That was just a ton of fun to learn. But also just like the wildlife over there was on such a different level than it is in the United States, just as a whole, not even just Minnesota, but I mean, and people know this too. I mean, you go to Australia and you're going to see some of the most deadly animals, and you're going to see some of the most cute animals. So the zoos were incredible. I mean, you could walk into a zoo and, you know, go into a kangaroo sanctuary, which is just a completely open field of kangaroos. It's not, you know, and, you know, they're not sitting in cages or anything like that. Like, it's a very, very open environment, and you can just go and, you know, lay with them and pet them and wave at them, whatever you want to do.
You were there petting kangaroos? Like, you were just strolling like,
I was.
Right up like, hey, kangaroo buddy. Like, are you serious?
Oh, yeah. There was one just laying on the ground, and I just walked right over, and I thought I'd lay on the ground and look at the clouds with it, and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah, so I mean, Australia in general is just an amazing experience, but I also went to Australia not knowing anybody, so going to a different, you know, place in the world and not knowing anybody, and just saying, you know, I can be exactly who I want to be and just make a whole new set of friends and everything. It was such an awesome experience. It was kind of like pressing the reset button for a little bit and just going out and living your best life for a few months. And I actually ended up staying a little bit longer than a couple other of the friends that I made there, and traveled solo for a little bit. And that was another experience that I would always encourage people to do. You learn so much about yourself and what you're capable of, and maybe even what you're not capable of. And it's a total learning experience that I would definitely challenge everybody to do. Were
you just addicted to the freedom that made you want to stay longer?
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And once you just, you know, get on this, you know, you want to meet so many people, and you want to see what people are about. And so doing that for a few months prior, and then having all of those people leave, and it was kind of like, again, setting the reset button. I was like, all right, all my friends, you know, have left and gone back to their homes, and so now I get to go out again. And yeah, it's kind of an addicting feeling. It's just, you know, it's kind of nice to press that reset button every once in a while.
Sure. What did you do after everybody left? Like, what were you saying to yourself, like, I should go and try this?
So I had gone out to Bali, Indonesia, and I wanted to stay in a little bit more rural area. So I went out there, I surfed, rented a mopeded around a little bit, and again, just met some really awesome people that I spent some time with, and tried to understand the language a little bit. It was really tough, and actually all the friends that I did make there too were Spanish speaking. So it became a little lonely, I'm not going to lie, for being there for 5 days and having, you know, one person that spoke just a little bit of English. So I'd go out with these people that I met, and they're, you know, speaking the Bali language, or they're speaking Spanish, and so that was challenging for sure.
Oh, I bet.
But it was still an amazing experience.
Then what'd you do after Bali?
After Bali, so I went back to Australia actually, and went up and down the coast, the east coast of Australia. That's going to be where more of the, you know, you have your, there's just kind of more population on the east side of Australia. So I actually had this whole trip planned for my mom and I. So my mom ended up coming out and visiting. We went to the Whitsunday Islands, which is, I think it's one of the top 10 beaches in the world.
Wow.
It just has that crystal clear water and just perfect beaches. And it was an amazing experience. We did actually a sailboat experience out there. We stayed in a sailboat overnight, which was really cool. Otherwise, I had met some Australian friends too that ended up coming up and visiting me, and we went skydiving, which was a ton of fun too. That was a first for me. I would definitely do it again.
Oh, jealous.
But it is terrifying. It's so scary. and I remember getting in the plane last, and I looked at my friends. I was like, since I got in last, this means that I'm first.
Yes.
And sure enough, we got out, and I was like, oh no. And they opened the door, but I mean, it is such a cool experience. So, but yeah, I think that's kind of majority of what we did, what I did when everybody left. And then it actually ended up being cheaper for me to go fly to Hawaii and then Hawaii home instead of one direct flight from Australia to LAX. So of course I had to stop in Hawaii for a couple of days too, which was just an awesome experience.
Take advantage.
It was great. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I think that's a very, very detailed answer to your lyrics for Waves on the Beach.
Yes, that is for sure. So that's why I maybe fell in love with it a little bit out there.
Awesome. Tell me about more of the lyrics. You also have a lyric about hands in the air. What's that in reference to?
Yeah, so I think when I said hands in the air, I think I was just thinking of like a kind of like a concert. So I was saying before, like music really calms me down and just kind of levels me out. So one thing that I like, I mean, if I'm listening to music, like live music, my hands are probably going to be in the air, and it's probably because I'm just having the best time, and I love listening to live music. So that's kind of where that one lyric came from.
Who are some of your favorites?
Man, that's a big question.
Deep question.
I definitely don't discriminate on genre at all. So I listen to a ton of different music. I would say, you know, going back a little bit, there are different aspects of bands that I like. So the Avett Brothers, for example, was a band that was incredible to see live. The way they play guitar is unreal. Otherwise, Tosh Sultana has been one. She originated from Australia too, and she's I think actually younger than me. I think she's like 23 or something, and plays like 20 different instruments. So I really like listening to bands and to people that, I mean, are just extremely talented in music. I mean, just like watching that type of entertainment is so much fun to me. But yeah, I mean, I could go on and on and on about bands. I really, I know I just said two of them, but I really don't have a favorite band at all. Like, live music is just my favorite music. So whether, that's a hip hop concert, alternative, indie, jazz, whatever it is, I'm in.
Have you ever heard of Hilltop Hoods?
I think I have, actually. Is
Yeah.
that
They're hip hop out of Australia. They're my favorite group.
actually, I don't think I have. I definitely haven't then. I'll have to check them out.
I'll text them to you when we're done here. Yeah.
Perfect.
No.
Yeah, you should definitely.
No, I've been listening to them for, oh man, what's it been, like 2 decades now? I found them by chance. This is back when YouTube was not what it is today. YouTube used to be a haven for vloggers. You ever heard of that term, vloggers?
I have, yep.
Yeah, so that's all YouTube was. It was just a huge, huge collective of people that would vlog. And there used to be these huge events where they would all get together, and they would have like YouTube meetup kind of thing. So obviously,
Yeah.
if you're in a collective of people that are all interested in a subject or a topic or hobby, there's going to be, like, what's the word? Like conventions, so to speak.
Yeah.
So one of these YouTubers, he was huge into, because I'm huge into skateboarding, right? So he was huge into BMXing, and it kind of like those two things just always wind up, traipsing over the other. If you're looking for one, you're bound to run into the other one at some point or another.
Right. Yeah.
So one of those YouTubers was huge into BMXing, and he created this video, and in the video, and all it was just it was just a video of him doing some tricks, on his BMX. But the soundtrack that he picked was one of Hilltop Hood's songs, and I was like, oh my God, that's a damn good song. Like, I've never heard of that before. Who are these guys? And it went from there, and I've been listening to them for forever. But they're in Australia, and it's like, I should back this up. I am most definitely gonna get a lot of flack for this. I've only ever been, especially from you. Please don't hang up when I say this. I have only ever been to one concert in my entire life.
Oh, it hurts.
I know. I'm sorry. Please stay.
What was the concert?
Okay, so now, mind you, I've been listening to Hilltop Hoods for like 2 decades, and they're in Australia, and it's like I can't just drum up the money to go to one of their shows. I mean, their shows there are huge. They're like the Eminem of Australia. They're just epic. But every once in a blue moon, they will tour Canada. And so I was always watching for like that moment where it's like, okay, well, that's kind of like a 14-hour drive, but can I make it work?
Right. So that was the band that you saw.
Yes. And now what had happened is they've been trying to step foot into the U.S. more and more and more, but every so often it was just because Canada was like their main tour, and they would just kind of like traipse down to Seattle or like New York or something like that. But just a couple of years ago, they took like a huge diagonal line just straight through the United States, and they wound up in Madison. And so, oh yeah, you cannot even believe how excited I was to find out that they were that close. I freaked out. So I called my best friend Andy, and I was like, dude, get your PTO. We're going. This isn't a question. I'm telling you what we're doing. And we went. We drove down to Madison, and awesome city. Have you ever been to Madison?
I haven't been to Madison, but everybody keeps telling me I need to go.
Yeah, I was surprised because I'm thinking, oh, wow, this should be a cool city where we're just going to be sitting around twiddling our thumbs until, the show. But no, it was an amazing city, a perfect city. If you stay downtown, we stayed at a hotel called the AC, and nice, awesome, modern hotel. But the location of it is like directly downtown, like the hotel faces the Capitol. And it puts you like right in the center, and super easy to just walk around. And There's plenty of like we went and saw them at the Majestic Theater. That entire like neighborhood right there, that business district, is all like classy. Well, maybe classy isn't the right word, but it's kind of like it's kind of like an upscale old fashioned, if that makes any sense. But they're all cool. They're all super cool ma and pa shops and great unique places to eat. There was I found this bar where they were grandfathered into like the smoking laws and stuff like that. And I know I'm totally not talking healthy right now, but you were allowed to smoke cigars in there, and they would pair your cigar with like a good bourbon or whiskey, or so it was like one of those really cool old fashions. Like they had the leather chairs, and it was like the business professional relaxed environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. So we went to the show, and we actually surprised them because the show was on a Monday night of all nights.
Yeah.
But I'd say about 150 people to 200 to show up. And, man, we were just rocking that theater. And at one point they were like, damn, Madison, if you're like this on a Monday night, what the hell are you like on a Saturday night?
Right.
So, oh, yeah, total.
You're like, well, hey, come back and we'll show you.
Right, exactly. No, just wherever you come back, just make sure it's within 5 hours of me. That would be nice and preferable.
Right, for sure.
But yeah,
that sounds like an awesome time.
It was an amazing time, and I didn't really want to get like all the way up front because obviously it's my first show. Like I didn't know what to expect, or I didn't know what was going on.
For sure.
So what happened was I wound up staying a little further back, and in this theater it was kind of like a tiered system. So like you had the main floor that was in front of the stage, and it was super easy, to be right up in front with them. And then it came up a level, and then they had like these lounge type, high tables with high chairs, which they kind of moved because, people were standing, jamming. And then it came up to a third tier where it was like another, standing area, whatever. And I kind of like tucked myself. It had like these railings, and I kind of tucked myself back in the corner, and I had a perfect view of the stage and the show and everything and everybody, and it was great. But at the end of the show, I didn't even realize that I was right behind their mixer, right? Their mixer and their their mixer and their tour manager, right? So at the end of the show, I tapped their tour manager on the shoulder, and I pointed. I was like, "Dude, can I have that?" And he was like, "Hell yeah!" And he gave me the set list. So,
that's awesome.
I know, it was such a great moment. So yeah, I have the set list, and I have a little bit of swag. I've been meaning to make like a shadow box to put all that stuff in there. My monumental.
My first concert and my only concert. Here is my shrine.
Right. I'm just going to mount it like right in the middle of the wall in my podcast studio here, so that way everybody knows.
Yeah. Perfect. Oh, that's so funny. Well, I mean, wouldn't that like maybe set you to, I guess, want to see more concerts? Because one thing that I've been wanting to do so much is go to Red Rocks. I've just heard it's obviously one of the best concert venues. I still haven't been out there, and I'm trying so hard to make it out to Colorado to go to Red Rocks sometime soon.
Okay. Yeah, I've never even heard of it until you mentioned it just now.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
You should check it out. It's an outdoor theater in Colorado, but yeah, it has just a really cool sound to it, especially since it's outside. So I've heard good things, but again, I haven't been there, so I'm trying to get there.
Well, make sure you give me a call.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose I do need to go to
second
more.
Concert coming.
Yes, exactly. Awesome. So, what was your first concert? Where did you go? Who did you see?
My first concert was the Dixie Chicks. And let me tell you, that concert was awesome.
Are you serious right now? The Dixie Chicks?
The Dixie Chicks. Hey, blame my mom for that. She was the one. I was too young. I was way too young to be like, hey, I want to go to, this artist. It was more so like, come on, kids, we're all going to go to the Dixie Chicks. It was like me and my cousins, and we had such a good time. But I look back, awesome. I'm like, the Dixie Chicks, like, because everybody always asks you, like, what was your first concert? It's just like an easy, like, point of conversation, I guess. And some people are like, oh, I went to Beyonce and I was at Rihanna, or I saw, U2, AC/DC, Fleetwood Mac, whatever it is. I'm like, hey, Dixie Chicks.
That is so great. I'm going to give her
I'm
so
like,
much
but
help.
they were awesome.
I'm glad it was a good show. Was it like a huge country show?
It was a pretty big country show, yeah. And I do remember I made this huge sign that I don't think they let me bring it in because it would have blocked a lot of view from the people behind me. But for my first concert when I was that young, I was really excited. So I put a lot of effort into this sign.
Oh, no.
And I'm pretty sure it got taken away immediately when I walked into the door.
Oh, no. What did the sign say?
I have no idea. I have really.
I never got it back.
It was so long ago. I never got it back. I don't remember what I put on it, but we'll never know. It's a mystery.
How much would it blow your mind if you actually, made a huge music career out of this? You wound up meeting and becoming friends with the Dixie Chicks and then just headed over to one of their houses one day and they still had it and it was hanging on the wall. I mean, would you recognize it if you saw it?
No joke. I would probably drop to the ground. I would just start bawling. I would just be like in uncontrollable tears and be like, this is how I know I've made it. And I didn't even know I made it when I was that young, but I made it.
Right, exactly. Oh my God, that was me.
I would be like, oh my God, that is my handwriting. Even though you can't read it, that is my handwriting when I was young.
This is great. So tell me more about the lyrics. Is there anything else specific in there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. So the second lyric, I had actually a couple friends reach out to me saying that they really liked what I had wrote in the second lyric. It says, "For your mind, open up, and then from all the chains that wrap us up, forget about time, lose yourself, and just think about nothing else." So it was again kind of going back to what I was saying before, like, it's a wonderful life. So whatever you're feeling at that moment, whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do, like, it is 2019, and when we do have so many resources and so many opportunities for you to do what you want, be what you want, like what you want, dislike what you want. And I just kind of, that was just kind of a reminder, like, hey, just like free your mind and open up, just be who you want to be. So that was kind of the whole meaning of that second lyric, and that seemed to kind of stick with some people.
Nice. That's awesome. Are you still writing?
I am always writing.
Do you have a notebook?
I have a full book of lyrics, some horrible and some that I am hoping to get into the studio sometime soon. But yeah, I'm constantly writing. If I find myself in a mood where I'm super happy, super sad, anxious, frustrated, whatever it is, whatever, kind of strikes me, to just pick up a guitar or sit down with a piano or whatever it is, that's the best time for me to write. And like I said, words just kind of pour out. Like I said, sometimes it's not good. I'll go back and be like, oh, this is trash, what I just wrote, and just crumple it up and be like, it wasn't the time or place for it. And then sometimes I'm like, hey, you know what, this actually makes sense, and I'll work off of it.
That's awesome. Yeah, you got to have the good with the bad, though. Don't feel like you shouldn't do the bad. You don't have to tell anybody about it, but I think there needs to be balance.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree with that too. And I mean, I don't want to release, sad songs either. That's not really the person that I am. I'd much rather release, songs that people can connect with, that make them happy and that make them, want to jump up in the air, or maybe make them just say like, hey, you know what? Yeah, like, I can get with this. This is, for example, It's a Wonderful Life. That's kind of a perfect example of just kind of the message that I wanted to send out to people listening to my music. So I'm not really that big into writing about, maybe those feelings that I feel when I'm really frustrated or sad. I would say that those are just more personal, and I would much rather have people listen to my music and, put a smile on their faces.
Oh, I totally understand that. But with that being said, what if you wrote a sad song, but it was really relatable to somebody else? And it helped them.
And that's kind of, and that's like,
do you have
that's
that
like
conflict?
the hard part too, because I have sad songs, like for sure. I have songs where it's just like I was really frustrated when I wrote those, and it's a song that makes sense, and I'm sure I'm not the only person that feels that way, but there's also I think an intimidating factor about releasing your art to the public, because there are so many opinions and there's that judgment there. I mean, and this is for any art. This doesn't have to be music. This could be, you're a painter, or you're a sculptor. It's just, it's a very vulnerable industry.
Oh, for sure.
Music is. So that's kind of, when you're putting out stuff that gets super emotional, I mean, you're kind of opening up this can of worms that you maybe have not opened up before. So that's I guess
point.
Where I would leave that question, going a little deeper. But
no, that's a good point. Do you have a breakup song?
Of course I have a breakup song.
I'm sorry, I had to ask.
I would say there's a lot. I mean, of course there's a breakup song, even if like it wasn't describing like a breakup that I've gone through. There's still a breakup song that I wrote about somebody else.
So you wrote? Are you
hold on? That I saw on a movie.
I gotta ask, do you have a breakup song that you wrote that was about somebody else that broke up with somebody?
Honestly, the answer is yes. The answer is yes.
That is epic. That is so epic.
Yeah, there's songs that I've wrote about where it's like I was watching a movie and I'm like, this movie was so touching, or so like it just made me feel a certain way. I'm like, I'm gonna go write a song about this because this made me so sad. And I'm like, this probably happens to so many people.
Oh, that's so funny. Do you have a Notebook song?
But do I have a what?
The Notebook song? Do you have a Notebook song?
Oh man, I don't have a Notebook song, but that movie will make me cry every time. It is just so sad. Have you watched that movie?
I watched it one time with one of my exes, and that was it. Like,
Did you cry? Did you cry? Did it make you feel a certain way where you cried?
No, I did not cry to that movie at all.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry.
Congratulations. You should win an award for that.
Congratulations.
The ending of that movie is just so sad.
Congratulations for being shallow. You made it.
Yeah. Put that up in your studio.
Right. I will say that I have cried. And I mean like, because there's different types of crying here. You have like the gentle cry where it's like, your eyes get watery and you get a little sniffly and a single tear rolls down your cheek. You know what I mean?
Totally. It's like you ate something a little too spicy and here comes the silent tear.
Exactly.
Just slowly making its way down your cheek.
Exactly. And then you have your typical cry where it's just, kind of like, oh, and then you have your hard cry where it's like you're gasping for air, it's just like that little kind of,
Yeah. Just hysterical.
Well,
Can't see anything.
That's another category is hysterical. That's like the breakup cry. That's
Totally.
But
I'm going to be really honest here too. So there is a certain thing that always makes me cry, and it's really embarrassing for me. So if I'm ever watching,
do tell.
If I'm ever watching like The Voice or like America's Got Talent, actually I think it's mostly America's Got Talent. Once they hit that golden buzzer on that show, I don't know if the buzzer has like a certain something like connected to myself, but I immediately start hysterically crying whenever they hit the golden buzzer on an act that they really like from America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent, whatever it is. It's just hysterical tears, just immediately.
Oh my God.
I don't know what it is.
Well, maybe
Like, if I ever needed to fake cry in any situation, all I need to do is quick grab my phone, find a golden buzzer, video of, somebody that sang a song really good, or maybe a magic trick that was just incredible, whatever it is. And once that golden buzzer gets pressed, like, my tears are full force, and, people will be concerned.
Oh, that is so great. I was not expecting that. Well, your golden button, there's a show that made me hard cry once. Actually, twice. Twice. I cried the second time, too, when I watched all the way through it. Lost. You ever seen that show, Lost?
Oh, yep. I have seen that show. That's a great show.
Have you ever seen it all the way through?
I have. It's been years and years since I've watched it all the way through, but I think I probably remember crying.
Oh,
I don't remember what the ending was, but I'm pretty sure I cried.
Well, I'm sorry, audience. That show has been out way too damn long. So, spoiler alert, you might want to fast forward a good couple of minutes right now. It was because it was when... Was it Jack that was doing it? Jack was getting... Or no. It was Desmond. It was Desmond. He was the one that was doing it. Was getting people to remember that they loved each other.
Right.
When he was waking them up,
man,
oh my God,
right.
I love you. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, talk about pulling on the heartstrings, girl. Holy crap, get the tissues. Like, yeah.
Yep. This isn't the, like, I ate something spicy cry. Here comes the hysterical tears of just, yep.
Oh, yeah, when Saeed and, God, I can't remember her name now, Boone's sister, when those two woke up, I was like, no. I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the trigger. Even if I'm, like, trying to stay strong, that Saeed and her scene, I just, oh, man, yeah. No, it's over. No.
Yeah, I need to watch that show again. I remember liking that a lot, but yeah, it's been years and years since I've watched that.
Oh, that is my number one favorite show of all time. I love that show. Excellent writing.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? What do you got coming up? Give me a little spoiler of your own.
Yeah, for sure. So right now, I'm working on an album. Release date is unknown. I have way too much work to put into the album before I even think about a release date for it.
How many songs is it going to be?
I think I'm just going to do it's called an EP, so it's an extended playlist, which is just kind of like a sneak peek into, know, what I'm about, the kind of music I'm about. So it's usually just an album of about usually like 4 to 5 songs. So I'll have somewhere in there 4 to 5 songs, but I think I have about 3 or 4 of them written already. So they just need to go into the production stage and get recorded. But I'm looking to hopefully do some live shows around the Twin Cities soon with a couple other people. And, again, nothing set in stone. This is all just kind of verbal and just, talking about it and hoping that it happens. But
no, wait a minute. You said
if I could do...
You said live shows?
Yes. So I used to do live shows actually when I was back in college. I would do country covers.
You were in a country cover band.
I know, isn't that crazy?
That is awesome.
Yeah,
what was the name of the band?
I used to do country.
What?
Yeah, so secretly I actually have a twangy country voice that's also a part of me that I don't love as much, but... Oh,
I'm about to love it. Give us an example.
It's there.
Give me an example. Come on, you gotta. I want to hear this twangy country voice.
The twangy country voice? Come to one of these live shows in the Twin Cities, and that's probably going to be the live shows that we do with the other few people that I'm going to start doing these shows with. But yeah, it's going to be more of like this, country, indie kind of music instead of whereas my album is going to be more so like just my style, which is kind of like It's a Wonderful Life. But yeah, we're looking to do some live shows, maybe at, again, all verbal. So I don't have
Sure.
anything set in stone, but
Do you know the
that's
name of
what's
the?
in the talks right now.
Do you have the name of the band? I mean, are we at that point?
So it's actually just going to be with Josh, the person that helped me with It's a Wonderful Life,
Sure.
and then one of his friends who's also working on an album. So actually all three of us, it's me and two other guys, so all three of us are working on our own albums right now, but we all
That's
have
awesome.
a different part of music that we can bring. So, one of the guys is really good at keyboard, one of the guys is really good at guitar. We can all, do drums a little bit, and then we can all sing a little bit. I can do the piano and guitar too. So we're just going to kind of put everything together and see if we can just do a couple shows, just the three of us, just for fun. So nothing like a band. It's more so, just getting out there and doing live music again, because that's something that we all used to do at some point, put a break on it. So we're all just kind of itching to get back out there.
Nice. And are you wanting to go the route of producing, I shouldn't say producing because that's a separate thing, but creating full albums? I mean, is that the level that you want to take this and doing like, live studio or not studio, live, huge venues?
Yeah, no, I mean, if I could do music full time, that would be my dream come true. So, just starting off with smaller shows, just kind of getting myself back into doing live shows and, working on an album and seeing if, down the road I could actually book out some venues where I could do the full performance of my music. That would be, like I said, yeah, a dream come true. That would be so much fun.
I promise I will put you on my docket of live shows to see. Concerts
Please
to go.
do. I'll be your second concert.
Are you gonna make me wait until you're my number two? Okay, all right.
Maybe, and then you have to bring a sign though, and the sign has to be readable.
Oh,
And
God.
and it will get taken, and I will grab it and I will hang that sign up somewhere at my house.
What does the sign gotta say?
Whatever you want it to say.
Okay, good. I was like, all right, here comes the pressure now.
Yeah, no pressure.
Awesome.
But yeah, so that's kind of, what I'm looking to hopefully accomplish here in the next, few years, is to actually do my own stuff. And whether it's for fun or whether it's for a full career, either way, I'd love to do it.
Well, judging by It's a Wonderful Life, I have no doubt in my mind that you will get there. You are amazingly talented, and I love that you sat down with me today to talk all about it. I am thrilled that you were here for me today. So yeah, I think we'll wrap it up. Is there anything that you want everybody to know, like anything coming up or other shows or other people, or go for it?
Yeah. So, well, yeah. And just first of all, thanks for having me come out here too. This was so much fun, and I was honestly honored to come out here and chat with you. I would just say, if people do want to listen to the song, It's a Wonderful Life, it is on all music platforms. So Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, you name it, it's probably out there. And it's, under Hannah Raye. But other than that, stay tuned for hopefully some live shows coming up and an album to be released in the future.
Do you have like an Instagram or Twitter, any kind of social media?
Yep, I do. So Instagram is just going to be at Hannah Raye Detra. Raye is Raye. Also, people I think spell my middle name wrong sometimes. But yeah, so just at Hannah Raye Detra is my Instagram. I don't have Twitter, but Instagram, people are more than welcome to email me. I think I have my email on there as well. So follow me on Instagram or email me, check out the song, and
where can they email you?
That's about what we got. Say again?
Where can they email you?
So on my Instagram, I actually have a little email me, I guess, tag on my homepage on my Instagram. So if you just press that button, it'll go straight to my email. Otherwise, my email, just for here too, it's just detrahannah@gmail.com. And I'm more than happy to, answer any questions, or if people want to, know anything more about the song or about, live shows coming up, I'm more than happy to answer.
Awesome. Once again, thank you. You are an amazing person, and I am so happy to know you.
Yeah, well, hey, thanks, Phil. No, this was awesome. I had a great time.
We will definitely do it again, and I fully intend on catching up on your adventure to continue.
Yeah. Sounds
Perfect.
good.
All
All right.
right.
Well, hey, thanks, Phil.
Thank you, and have a good night, everybody. We'll talk to you again very soon. Oh, what an amazing, amazing episode. I had a lot of fun with it. I am so glad you guys were able to join for it. And please remember to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at RumorCast. Feel free to jump on our website, rumorcast.com, and hit up that speak category to tell me whatever is on your mind. I absolutely love a good story. Everybody has a good story, and I want to hear your good stories. In the meantime, thank you once again for listening. Thank you for being here with us, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Take care, guys. I love you all.